Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to Pulaski County High School. My name is Matt Cook. I'm Assistant Superintendent here at Pulaski County Schools. I'm filling in for our Superintendent, Mr. Pat Richardson, who couldn't be here today. Just want to express what an honor it is to have Governor Beshear and his team here. We're very, very excited to have them here and appreciative of the work that they're doing for our school system and our community. This time, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Rocky Atkins. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having us today. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces and good friends in this crowd, and we're honored to be with you. The governor and I, we feel like we've been caged up for the last 15 months, and the governor will often say, it's good to be here, it's good to be any place. What do you all think? I agree with that. Thanks for the hospitality today here at Pulaski County High School. As I said, we've been traveling today to different parts. We announced the SOAR conference today would be over in Corbin, which is a big event for Eastern Kentucky communities to come together with a vision of how we move forward, how we create hope and opportunity and prosperity for our region of Kentucky. And I want you all to know that I had the great honor of serving in the Kentucky House, as many of you know, for 33 years of my life, and a lot of different positions and a lot of different areas of serving in the House. And I'm honored today to be working with this governor as his senior advisor, to be working with someone that gets it, somebody that cares, somebody that has compassion for its people, and somebody that's trying, as I said, to lift up all regions of Kentucky. I think his leadership has been pretty well recognized as we've gone through this last 15 months. He asked me to come and be his senior advisor to give him advice on the legislature and kind of the Capitol building of things that need to get done during the session in different parts of the state that I may know a little bit better than him, to kind of give him advice on those. But we never recognized on March the 6th of this past year that we would go into a situation that none of us have ever been in, called COVID-19. So there was no playbook for that. And the advice I could give in that arena was to support him and to stand with him and to make sure that the courage he showed and the leadership he has provided has made Kentucky a national model on how to, first of all, the number one priority, protect its people, to take care of its people and make sure that we get through this and on the other side, but while we also recognize how important the economy is and to keep it moving forward. And the governor will hit on that a little bit today. And we are recognizing some really hard work, some really tough decisions that probably some of you in this room didn't always agree with, but they were made not with political motivation, but they were made out of the compassion of a man's heart that we call our governor of this great Commonwealth. Some of you understand that there may be still just a little bit of civility left in the political arena. And I think there's two people on this stage that prove it. I think you all know very well that I ran for governor, and the person that was elected governor sits on the stage. And I think you all recognize that the guy that finished second in that race, and the reason that I'm on this stage is because we ran a race, I think, of dignity and respect for each other. We didn't call each other names, we didn't kick each other, we didn't stab each other, we didn't jab, we didn't try to downgrade. You know what we did? We talked about the issues of Kentucky, and we talked about how to build a better Kentucky. And I think the opportunity we've got moving forward because of this governor's leadership, really the ability to show his leadership in the toughest of tough times, and to stand behind his decision and not move, not back up, not make a decision and say, oh, wait a minute now, because the heat comes down or the pressure, but to stand firm because his number one priority. And I'll never forget when he told me this. He said, I want to be able to lay down at night and know the decisions that I made protected our people and made sure we come out on the other side in a better way. Well, the governor will tell you we still lost people from this virus. But I will tell you, because of his leadership, we are in a better place on the other side than a lot of other states across this great nation. Our school officials that are here today, our teachers, gosh almighty, you all have had to really improvise. You've had to teach, you've had to do things in a way that you never thought, and to watch your leadership. I mean, I've met the leadership of this school and other schools across this community, the leadership that you all have had to provide as well. To imagine how you've had to teach over the last year and a half to finally get back in person to be able to have school. It's pretty amazing. Well, we have a governor that does have vision. We have a governor that is willing to do what we need to do to create new economies, new hope, and new opportunity. A governor who understands new economies are on the horizon, and Kentucky is in a position now to really take advantage of that. You know why? Because this governor understands through his vision the new opportunities that lie ahead of us that will benefit and lift up all regions of Kentucky. Now, folks, I'm not just from Eastern Kentucky. I live in Eastern Kentucky. Our people have earned it, and they deserve it. And this governor recognizes that prosperity needs to come to all regions of Kentucky. It's the reason I'm proud to work with him. And I work by his side every day to provide the, hopefully, advice and support that he needs throughout each day to do the things he needs to do in difficult times. I'm proud to introduce to you today the governor of this great Commonwealth of Kentucky, Andy Beshear.
After 15 months, that feels pretty good. Well, first, let me thank Rocky. There's more than just civility there. There is a real friendship. Somebody that has gone through these times right next to me when you can really bond people together. But he is also such an important part of this governor's office. So those that know me pretty well know I grew up around horses. My first job was mucking stalls. It prepared me for Frankfurt. But I can tell you, from being there every day, Rocky's not a show pony. First of all, he's bigger than a pony. But he is a work horse. He shows up every morning with the biggest cup of coffee they sell at McDonald's. And he is there until the very end of the day. So Rocky, thank you for everything you do for this family. How good does it feel to be here in person for this? Yeah, it is really exciting, especially now that we don't take anything for granted. But I want to start by thanking you, because we wouldn't be here today being able to do this without you, without the people of Kentucky. I'm going to talk a little bit about the last 15 months, but it has been your work and your willingness to sacrifice. It's what you've done every day, and your neighbors have, that have us in a better position than just about any other state. And the last 15 months have been hard, haven't they? I mean, we have experienced some of the most difficult emotions and times that we could imagine. I think the most felt emotion is grief. We've now lost 7,000 Kentuckians. And I can tell you, even when I look at how we've done so much better than other states, it's not easy being governor that's watched and read and listed 7,000 children of God, each irreplaceable, families that are grieving, members of communities that cannot be replaced. And it's going to take us time to process this grief and this loss, and we should give ourselves the space to do that, knowing even when we're feeling better emotions, that this is going to come back. And I just buried my aunt last Wednesday, not from this, but from something else. And it's that complex feeling that we're gonna be going through for a while. And then there's also the stress. The stress for me of having a 10 and 11-year-old that I was relearning 5th and 6th grade math. I wasn't very good at either of them. It was watching their lives turned upside down. It was knowing that we were asking people for so much sacrifice. Small business owners, those that were foregoing so many different opportunities. It was my son putting off his baptism, not being able to be at his graduation from elementary school, and watching the sacrifices that so many have made. But they've done it for each other. When I look at why we are where we are, first of all, people said we couldn't get here. It said Kentucky was number 1, 2, or 3 in heart disease, lung cancer, diabetes. Right? That's everything this virus comes after. But when I look at where we are, having performed better than just about every state, having more of our people here than anybody thought was possible, I think it's for a very simple reason. I think it's our goodness. I think it's who we are as people. Our willingness to live for one another. And we see it after every major disaster, don't we? After we get the ice storms, after we get the snowstorms, after we get the flooding, very recently after we got all 3 in 2 weeks. But we see everybody rally to help everybody else. Right? The selflessness and not the selfishness, how we pick each other up. We've done that by and large for these last 15 months for one another. And it has been something truly special to see. And I am so proud to be your governor and the governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky during this, even with the difficulty. It's who we are that makes us special. And that's also made us safer. And so while we feel all these tough emotions, I'm feeling some very different emotions lately. I'm feeling hope. Hope because I've witnessed a miracle. Not just a modern medical miracle, but I believe a miracle from God. Because we had our first case 15 months ago. And as of today, we have 2,060,000 Kentuckians that have now been vaccinated and are protected from this virus. And in that number, it's almost 84% of individuals over 65. So especially those that are most vulnerable, we have done so much for. I've watched our long-term care centers where I would have days where I'd have to announce 10 deaths from the same facility. How that must have felt on everybody involved. Those have gone from about 67% of all of our deaths to less than a third. And I can tell you today, there were 0 long-term care deaths in our list. We are truly seeing hope. And let me just say, if you or a friends or a family have not gotten vaccinated, please do. I didn't just get vaccinated, I did. I watched my wife get vaccinated. And in 2 weeks, my son will turn 12. I'm going to take him to get vaccinated. I love these people, my family, more than anything else in this world. I would die for them. I would do anything for them. And I'm going to get them vaccinated because I know it's safe. And I know it's going to help them. And I know it's going to help our Commonwealth. And here tomorrow, we're going to announce a few more incentives to those that have been or are willing to be to help get us over the line where we need to get. I tell you, I'm feeling more than just hope. I'm feeling optimism now. And I'd say after this 15 months, we deserve some optimism. Yes. We deserve some good news. Heck, I think we deserve a whole lot of good news. And that is what we are starting to see. Because I tell you, our economy is starting to pick up. And I believe we've got a chance for more prosperity moving forward than we have ever seen in my lifetime. We've had more good economic news in the span of the last 2.5 weeks than I thought was possible. And I want to tell you a little bit about it. So the first came with a report card on how we did last year in the midst of the pandemic. Yes, it was hard, but we knew we couldn't take our eyes off the ball because people's livelihoods were on the line. So there's this magazine called Site Selection. It's the #1 economic development magazine that's out there, and they put out their annual rankings. They ranked Kentucky #1 in our region in economic development. They ranked us #1 of all states with under 5 million people. Per capita, they ranked us number 3 in the country. But if you even take that out and you just put us in direct competition with New York, Texas, California, you pick any big state, we were 7th nationally. We were working every single day knowing that there was a future ahead of us. But the news got better. So you got these big rating agencies. And anybody who has to borrow money, especially in government, knows what these rating agencies are. And to everybody in a retirement system, you know what these rating agencies are. And over the past 10, I asked my budget director, 20 years, they've only given us one thing: bad news. And that changed a little over a week and a half ago. So the first one of them came out, it's called Fitch's, and it said Kentucky's economy is rebounding faster than most states. I was pretty proud of that. And then came Moody's. Well, most of us have heard of Moody's. And I didn't know that rating agencies use these terms, but their report says Kentucky's economy is rebounding with gusto. And so now I use that term as much as I can. And we're seeing it. I mean, Rocky and I would tell you we're seeing it because last year, again, you look at where we ranked. We've already doubled the amount of investment in Kentucky and the number of jobs that we have announced this year in just 5 months as compared to last year. And then just last week, on Tuesday, 2,000 new jobs were announced in northern Kentucky. And then spanning the state on Thursday, we announced 550 new jobs and $270 million of new investment in a day. The week before, Apple. We've all heard of Apple. They own our phones. Apple invested in a company in Kentucky, put $40 million extra dollars in it. We didn't even know until they put out the press release. And so I believe in front of us is a time of amazing prosperity. But I think, just like we've had a responsibility to one another in the midst of COVID, we have a responsibility to each other if we're going to have this incredible opportunity ahead of us. And I think the first part of that responsibility is that opportunity has to reach every single part of Kentucky, including right here in Pulaski County. For way too long, in good times, some areas have been left out. No more. We have spent the last 15 months living for one another, remembering that we all count and we all do better when we make sure everybody is safe and healthy. And if we can take that same approach to this prosperity, to push out all the noise and the division and anything else, and just focus on making sure everybody gets a chance. Every part of Kentucky, every part of our cities, absolutely everyone. Then think about it. We could have gotten 2 major moments right. One, a 1 in every 100-year pandemic where we get it right in how we protect each other. And 2, maybe just as unprecedented of a shot at moving Kentucky forward. And why not us? Right? Why not now? At a time when that density of New York City or Los Angeles has never been more unattractive to groups. When our obstacles with broadband, which were increasing, and remote work have never been greater, why not us? When we've got national attention at leading during COVID, why can't we lead in the post-COVID economy? And why can't we do it in all parts of Kentucky? And I've seen proof that we can. You know, folks, our most recent publicly traded company, one of the hottest companies in the country, it just built one of the 10 largest buildings, I think, in the world. It's got the most sophisticated LED lighting system ever created. It's a company called App Harvest. Guess what? It's in eastern Kentucky. We've shown that we can do this. And part of doing it is making sure that we as a state invest in our infrastructure. I was proud earlier this week to announce our transportation contracts have now gone over $1 billion here in Kentucky. That's good for our roads, that's good for our bridges, and that's good for our community. But if we're going to invest in infrastructure, I think a lot of it has to be around our most precious cargo, our children. We think a lot about how we're a logistics state, don't we? We're a one-day drive, 60% of all the population of the United States. I say that a lot. But the most precious thing I put in any vehicle are my kids. We got the 6th most dangerous rural roads in Kentucky. I was in Mount Sterling a week and a half ago. on the day of a funeral of a 17-year-old high school student who had collided with their school bus carrying the baseball team. And the hurt in that town, just shows how important it is to get our kids to school safely and home safely. And while we're talking about schools, oh my goodness, to every educator here, thank you. You look at what this last year brought, y'all were already heroes. Y'all were already doing one of the most important jobs that was there, and then we asked you to do 10 times more. To, on a dime, switch to remote learning when we were still trying to get computers out to kids. To try to give them the best learning experience ever. To come back in the next year, and oh my goodness, seeing what was done in just a few short months. Delivering meals to millions of kids and millions upon millions of meals, not missing a beat. Our educators showed us again how wonderful they are. And then all the work that they did getting kids back in school before the end of this year. I remember the days that my kids went back and how special that was. You know what? I'm proud Kentucky was the very first state to prioritize the vaccination of our teachers. It was the right thing to do. So today, we want to make sure that we continue to invest in you, in Pulaski County, and in the safety of our children. So here in Pulaski County, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet has announced the allocation of more than $1 million for projects that will improve traffic safety at and around 3 Pulaski County school campuses. What a better place to use discretionary funds, because that's what these were. Ultimately, they came to me and said, if you're going to have some extra money to spend, where do you want it to be? And I said, right around the safety of our children. By taking action to address traffic congestion around these campuses, we're going to help make these schools safer places for kids to come to and to learn. First, $225,000 is going for KYTC to design a connector road between Northern Middle School and Pulaski County High School, and new left turn lanes here at Pulaski County High and Southwestern High School. The remainder, $785,000, is for the construction of the turn lanes in 2022. The campus connector road between Northern Middle School and Pulaski County High School will help reduce congestion on Kentucky Highways 39 and 1575, which are the main access routes into each campus. The new connector, which has been a priority for the Pulaski County Board of Education, also will improve safety and mobility for buses and meet other school transportation needs between those campuses. Design for the connector is expected to be completed this year, with construction expected in 2023. Total estimated cost is $1,520,000. Meanwhile, construction of the dedicated left turn on KY 1577 at the entrance of Southwestern High School will help reduce congestion at the intersection of KY 1577 and WTLO Road, a primary route for Southwestern High School traffic. A similar project, construction of a left turn on KY 1575 into Pulaski County High School, will improve the flow of through traffic on the highway and reduce congestion during morning and afternoon start and dismissal times at the high school. Design of both left turn projects will be completed this year, with construction in 2022. Again, what better way to spend our money? Making sure all those kids get here safely. Making sure all the faculty and everybody else who works here getting here safely. And then getting everybody home. So, if Assistant Superintendent Matt Cook would like to come up here, we got a really big check for him. $1,010,000. Make sure you don't lose this. These are great projects. They're going to spur economic development. They're going to create new jobs. Most importantly, they're going to protect people. So congratulations again to Assistant Superintendent Cook, to all of Pulaski's education system, from the board, down to absolutely everybody else that does such critical work, and all the officials and friends that are here today to support this investment in this community. And again, thank you for your resiliency, your goodness that we've seen in these last 15 months. Every Kentuckian that stepped up and did their part is a hero. Every single person saved lives. We're all connected in such special ways. And if we can hold on to that compassion, I still have my green lights on, and I appreciate the Green Team Kentucky shirts. If we can just take a little bit of that and pay it forward, I think the sky is the limit for us. So thank you. God bless. We'll be back with more checks and more projects. We want to make sure that this community and every single member is a part of the great prosperity we're about to see. Thank you all very much.